Atheist Incoherence about consciousness. 2. It is incoherent for atheists to claim that we do not have consciousness. Some atheists have claimed that we do not have consciousness, or that consciousness does not exist, or that consciousness is an illusion. This is because consciousness clearly falsifies metaphysical materialism and metaphysical reductionism, both of which are viewed by many atheists as being necessary for atheism. However, it is incoherent for atheists to claim that we do not have consciousness, or that consciousness does not exist, or that consciousness is an illusion. Given that consciousness is real and non-material, this opens the door to non-material minds, or souls, and to the ultimate non-material causal agent, i.e., God. Consciousness, the state of being aware of and able to think about one's own existence, thoughts, and surroundings, is one of the most fundamental aspects of human experience. Despite this, some have ventured to argue that consciousness is an illusion or that we do not truly possess consciousness. Such a claim is not only counterintuitive but also logically incoherent. To deny the existence of consciousness is to undermine the very basis of our understanding of reality, selfhood, and rational discourse. In this video, we will explore why it is incoherent to claim that we do not have consciousness, highlighting the self-contradictory nature of this assertion and the essential role consciousness plays in all aspects of human life. The nature of consciousness. Consciousness is the subjective experience of being aware, of perceiving, thinking, feeling, and experiencing the world. It is what allows us to recognize our own existence, reflect on our thoughts, and engage with our environment. Consciousness is often described as what it is like to be an individual, a perspective that cannot be fully reduced to physical processes or objective measurements. The claim that we do not have consciousness implies that our awareness, thoughts, and perceptions are somehow non-existent or illusory. This is a deeply problematic position, as it leads to several logical contradictions that make the denial of consciousness an incoherent stance. The self-refuting nature of denying consciousness. 1. The paradox of claiming non-consciousness. The most immediate problem with claiming that we do not have consciousness is that such a claim is self-refuting. To deny consciousness, one must first be conscious. Making any claim, including the claim that consciousness does not exist, requires a conscious mind to form the thought, articulate it, and communicate it. If someone were to argue, "I am not conscious," they would be using their consciousness to make that argument, thereby contradicting themselves. The very act of denying consciousness presupposes its existence. This creates a paradox. One cannot coherently claim that consciousness does not exist because the claim itself requires conscious thought and awareness. 2. The incoherence of an unconscious observer. Another issue with denying consciousness is the concept of observation and experience. Consciousness is what makes it possible for us to observe, interpret, and interact with the world. Without consciousness, there would be no one to observe, no experiences to interpret, and no interactions to occur. Claiming that we do not have consciousness would mean that there is no observer to perceive anything, including the very thoughts and sensations that supposedly do not exist. This leads to an incoherent position. If there is no consciousness, then there is no one to experience or know anything, including the supposed non-existence of consciousness itself. The role of consciousness in rational discourse. 1. The necessity of consciousness for rational thought. Rational thought and discourse are only possible through the exercise of consciousness. Logical reasoning, critical thinking, and decision-making all require an awareness of concepts, the ability to reflect on ideas, and the capacity to draw conclusions. Without consciousness, these cognitive processes would be impossible. If we were to claim that consciousness does not exist, we would also be denying the very possibility of engaging in rational discourse. There would be no conscious mind to understand arguments, evaluate evidence, or make reasoned decisions. This would render all attempts at communication, persuasion, or reasoning meaningless, as they rely on the existence of a conscious agent capable of thought. The paradox of arguing against consciousness. Arguing that consciousness does not exist is itself an activity that presupposes consciousness. When someone presents an argument, they are implicitly acknowledging their own awareness and their ability to engage in rational thought. They are also assuming that their audience is conscious and capable of understanding and responding to their argument. If consciousness truly did not exist, then the act of arguing against it would be incoherent. Without consciousness, there would be no one to formulate the argument, no one to consider it, and no one to be persuaded by it. The very act of arguing against consciousness thus confirms its existence, making the denial of consciousness self-contradictory and incoherent. The experiential reality of consciousness. 1. Introspection and self-awareness. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence for the existence of consciousness is our own direct experience of it. Through introspection, we can observe our thoughts, emotions, and sensory perceptions. We are aware of our own awareness, and this self-reflective capacity is central to our sense of self. Denying the existence of consciousness requires us to dismiss this direct and immediate experience as false. However, introspection provides us with some of the most reliable and immediate knowledge we have. If we cannot trust our own awareness of being conscious, then we must question the reliability of all our subjective experiences, including those that lead us to deny consciousness in the first place. 2. The reality of qualia. Qualia, the subjective qualities of conscious experience, such as the redness of a rose, the taste of chocolate, or the pain of a headache, are undeniable aspects of consciousness. These experiences are deeply personal and cannot be fully captured by physical descriptions or objective measurements. To claim that consciousness does not exist would be to deny the reality of qualia. However, qualia are so intimately tied to our lived experience that denying them is tantamount to denying our very existence as sentient beings. The reality of qualia underscores the incoherence of denying consciousness, as it is through consciousness that we experience these qualities. The philosophical implications of denying consciousness. 1. The inadequacy of physicalism. Physicalism, the view that everything that exists is physical or dependent on physical processes, often underlies the claim that consciousness does not exist. According to physicalism, consciousness is nothing more than the activity of neurons in the brain, and any sense of subjective experience is simply a byproduct of these processes. However, this view fails to account for the richness and immediacy of conscious experience. While physical processes may correlate with certain aspects of consciousness, they do not explain why or how these processes give rise to subjective experience. The hard problem of consciousness, as philosopher David Chalmers describes it, remains unresolved. How can physical processes in the brain produce the qualitative experience of being conscious? The inadequacy of physicalism in explaining consciousness suggests that consciousness is not an illusion but a fundamental aspect of reality that cannot be reduced to physical processes. To claim otherwise is to ignore the very phenomena that consciousness presents to us. Conclusion. 1. The claim that consciousness does not exist is not only problematic but also fundamentally incoherent. Denying consciousness leads to self-refuting paradoxes, contradicts our direct experience of self-awareness, and undermines the very basis of rational discourse. Consciousness is not an illusion but a real and essential aspect of human existence, one that cannot be dismissed without leading to logical contradictions and a breakdown in our understanding of reality. In conclusion, consciousness must be acknowledged as a genuine and irreducible aspect of reality. Any attempt to deny its existence or reduce it to an illusion ultimately collapses under its own contradictions, highlighting the incoherence of such claims. Consciousness is not only real but central to our understanding of ourselves and the world, and it must be recognized as such in any coherent philosophical or scientific account of reality. 2. Some atheists have claimed that we do not have consciousness, or that consciousness does not exist, or that consciousness is an illusion. This is because consciousness clearly falsifies metaphysical materialism and metaphysical reductionism, both of which are viewed by many atheists as being necessary for atheism. However, it is incoherent for atheists to claim that we do not have consciousness, or that consciousness does not exist, or that consciousness is an illusion. Given that consciousness is real and non-material, This opens the door to non-material minds, or souls, and to the ultimate non-material causal agent, i.e., God. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and comment below if you agree or would like to add your thoughts.